I just watched one of the most refreshing interviews of a politician in Canada since I can't remember when. We're used to having to decipher the BS. And that's why when I heard this interview of the Premier of Manitoba, Wab Kinew, on CTV News, I decided that we have to highlight this.
I think we've been very clear that what we want to see happen is to get all these tariffs lifted and the threat of tariffs to stop. So if Donald Trump quits it with the tariffs, probably one of the worst economic policies he's advanced, which is quite a list to be on the top of, I will say, then we'd look at bringing the American booze back.
So if the United States lifts its tariffs that it has on Canadian imports, then Mr. Kinew is perfectly willing to consider lifting the booze ban, which Manitoba is participating in. And that position was a little bit perplexing for the reporter, so we asked for a little bit of clarification.
So I just want to be clear, when you say if they remove the tariffs, that is something that you would consider removing the ban on American alcohol. Which tariffs?
All of them. 100% of the tariffs. No tariffs, no threat of tariffs. Then you can have the booze back.
Did you see the reporter's face? I love this guy. I love this Wab Kinew. Go on, please.
What you're proposing here is them removing tariffs on steel, aluminum, lumber, and autos in exchange for that one concession on American alcohol. Is that what I'm understanding?
100%. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 100%. That's right. That's exactly what I'm saying. And the reporter now is just, his brain is spinning a little bit, and he's wondering, what is this guy talking about? What do you mean? And he tries to guide the conversation now, tries to direct Mr. Kinew into a way that most politicians would corner themselves. Are you really saying that that's your position? You would risk a trade deal on the value of all the goods that we trade in the United States and Canada just for the booze ban? Are you sure I'm hearing you correctly?
We know that it works and we see that it is effective because it is getting their attention. But do you think that it makes enough sense that it could be hindering our ability to get back to the table here?
I don't know. Maybe we should up the ante. Maybe we should say that they need to release the Epstein files, and then we'll remove the booze ban.
Yes, that's absolutely a freaking great idea. I love this guy. This is just so refreshing. All right. I may actually have to consider moving to Manitoba. This is just the most refreshing thing that I've ever seen from any politician in Canada. You have to understand that, I feel like a euphoric sense of pride listening to this guy. Yeah, let the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files, and we'll stop the booze ban.
Donald Trump obviously does not like talking about the Epstein files because he's mentioned in there so often. And he does very erratic things to try and change the channel whenever the domestic pressure is growing on it. So maybe we should put that on the table and then say that that's when the booze will come back, when they release the rest of the Epstein files. So we're in a negotiation. There's a lot of bluster, a lot of heat, a lot of tough talk coming from the American side. We have a card that works with these booze bans. I don't think we should give it up. We should play our cards right.
Now, this is where this reporter's brain explodes, because he's not used to dealing with a genuine person that actually speaks like us, like most Canadians would wish to speak about these topics. And he makes a Herculean effort to avoid saying the words Epstein or files. Now, this is a CTV reporter, and I'm not sure if that's the policy of the network or whether he's just uncomfortable saying them, or whether the media in general likes to steer away from this topic so as to not piss off the president, or maybe they're fearing repercussions from the U.S. administration just mentioning this, the fear that maybe they could be litigated, or whatever the reason is. This reporter won't even say the words.
Okay, with respect, I don't think we have control over that other thing that you said to include and up the ante.
You know, that other thing about that guy, that pedophile that was charged with soliciting minors for sex. You know, that guy that if you Google him and the president's name, you come up with lots of videos of them together. That guy who said in the past that the president was his best friend for 10 years. You know, that guy in that issue, they call it the Epstein files. I'm not allowed to say that.
With respect, I don't think we have control over that other thing that you said to include and up the ante, but I'm going to leave that there for.
Why not? And why are we afraid to talk about it? It's this crazy thing that everyone knows the Americans are afraid of, their president is afraid of. So let's just say what it is. The president is mentioned in the Epstein files a huge amount of times. His government continues to conceal them. And so why don't we just say that we're going to drive a hard bargain until they release the rest of the files? If they want to talk tough about 51st state, they want to have their secretaries go into congressional hearings and throw various tantrums, then we should just hit them where it hurts, hit them where they don't want to respond.
Now you tell me, have you ever heard a politician speak like this? He's saying basically what a lot of us are thinking anyways. I found it so refreshing because a typical politician would always be looking for an angle, a spin. And I guess he believes that he can afford to do this. He's just the premier of Manitoba, and he probably has this idea that he is going to be who he is and not put on a fake act and just present himself and his ideas with no BS and let the chips fall where they may. And for me, the chips have fallen with an increased degree of respect for this man. Now, the reporter